Hello again, this is part 2 of the Folland Gnat build that I'm doing. And I'm just researching the cockpit a bit. There's some great pictures of the Folland Gnat cockpit. So we look at this one. We've got like a green front to the seat. And then like black straps with blue highlights. There's blue straps in this one as well. So the front seat generally has crotch level. A little cutout, this little cutout here, from which the belt goes back. There are these two little side belts that come over. So these go over into the thigh. So there must be a central buckle, but there's no other detail up here. Here we go. So you've got the two side buckles there. You sat on your parachute, and they're grey. They're not tan. So my preparing a tan one here is wrong. We need to start again. So let's start again, and I can make it a darker grey. I can make the standard grey rather than the light grey we've used in the cockpit. Pull that down. I'll leave the ochre one there because I can use that for another aircraft another time. Let me just get the actual dark grey. Whoa, that's pretty unmixed. Let's do it this way. That's better. Let's get a grey. Nice big sloppy amount of grey on there. So that's the darker grey on there. I'll highlight that, add some streaks, add some bits and bobs, whatever. Let me just put that one in there. Let's go back to the cockpit piece and just see what highlights I can do. I just want to tidy up a little bit on this. A little bit on there. So that's all the grey I need for the cockpit itself. And next I'm going to look at these handles. Look, so they are black, yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow. Now they are on these seats, sort of. They're on a square appendages, if that makes sense. But we need to colour the seat first. So this is obviously another dark grey. This though has got an insert, look, of something. This has got the same insert. So there are versions of it that have a you know, a foam yellow ochre pad. The back is a lighter grey with dark green stripes. So we can do the pad at the bottom, and I can do that in a sand first, and then a touch of the ochre that we've got. And we will do that with this. This is a number 2 Bouldermere brush. Let me make you bigger over here. So we're going to take a bit of this sand colour, and I'm going to paint it. The best way for you to see is maybe do it this way. A lot of paint on there actually. It's more plaster than paint, but get it on. That. I'll do the same on the rear seat. Like that. Need to do it this way around as well, though, where I'm looking into the seat. Okay, so they're coloured. You can just make them out on this camera. So they're definitely coloured, look. Quite like that brush, so I'll clean it up for the next piece. Just take that off. Like so. And we needed a very, very light grey with then this green inset. So what I'm going to do is actually get the white and add it to a touch of the grey. So move the grey over, and then I'm going to get some of the white. This is not, there we go, some of the white, add it in. Just homogenising the colour. You can just see so you can see it's a lot lighter than that, which is going to make it stand out some. Don't need all of it on there. And I'm going to brush it up and away from the sand, which isn't dry yet. It's actually activated the sand on that one. It's a bit of a shame, but it actually works quite well. It does actually work quite well, so well, fair enough. We just have a moment cleaning the brushes because we've done several different colours. I don't need the white, I don't need the ochre, I don't need the sand. I will need a yellow in a moment. There's my yellow, and I will need a black. I don't see my black. Yes, I do. Schwarz. Okay, so we've got the yellow, we've got the black. The dark grey is going to go away. Cool. We're back on track. Let's have a session just cleaning the brushes. Uno. Sing along with me. Dos. Just so you can see, this is I have 2 packs of Bouldermere brushes. Look how this one's wearing out now. And they aren't actually that old, but they're a £2 pack of brushes, so one can't complain too much. They actually are really quite nice brushes for £2. I might leave that one there for details in a second. So let's just have a look at the top rear of the seat a bit more. This is a top ejection handle. So you can see red and black and yellow. It's basically anything to highlight it. Red and black and yellow. There's a very, very yellow seat there. Back on this one though, there's no handles on this one. So this is a Martin B, but it doesn't say what aircraft it came out of. MGX64K doesn't really say. This one's more the cockpit. That's the front bit. So yellow and black in this one. Excuse me, yellow and black in this one. What I'll do is I will add yellow with a brush. And I can touch it up with black dots with a cocktail stick later. because I'm going to want some black on the control columns. So there are definite yellow highlights now on there. I may need another coat just to kill the grey underneath off. But is that good? Is that good? So the black won't be needed for a while. It'll need to set and be completely gone off by the time I get there. But this is how I do the referencing. Oh, go back position. Oh, device 4. There we go. So let's just have a look at the rest of the controls. Now the piece I want to do now is inside the cockpits. We've got the grey, which needs a bit of TLC. And we literally put a spray of, well, not a spray, but a good amount of grey inside, because we want to highlight these points. So this is grey inside the cockpit, more grey, and it can be quite fast and loose, just to get a good layer on there. The grey isn't the important bit. The important bit is not to wash out or overwhelm any of the details inside the moulding. And if I just hold this up to it, how will this fit? I believe it fits like that. So we're going to need a tad more grey back to the beyond the intakes. So that's way back there. What I'll do is just put a little bit over the lip, like so, just so it fits in. I believe the top forward windscreen would be black to stop any glare in the pilot's face. So the grey is ending here, but yeah, the cockpits, the fuselages are still on the sprue. That's one of the few things you can paint on the sprue. But we've still got a lot of detailing to do on this seat. So let's just have a look. That's come together quite well. Let me just get a very fine brush and get some of this grey on the back of this seat again. So go in there. Like so. A bit more. There we go. We need a bit more tissue paper. Just clean these off. Especially fine brushes, it's best to get them cleaned as soon as you're happy with them. So you can see how the secondary water is getting dirtied up by this brush. It's because I didn't really clean it well in the first water, but it's also because I picked up a lot of the grey with it, so much so it's turning the bristles a darker colour. But this is a brush I've used multiple times. There's actually very dried red on it. This is one of the, this isn't a Bouldermere, this is a Chinese seller on eBay that I got it from. They took an absolute age to get here. It was £3 for lots of them, but these have been really nice brushes. But this one is starting to break up now, starting to go a bit wrong. You can sort of see how the brush they've lost a bit of, you know, their niceties. But Bouldermere do it as well. That's a very old Bouldermere brush, really old, and it's doing the same thing. Look. Anyway, we're at 15 minutes, guys, and we've got all sorts of little bits and bobs done. That needs to dry on the cockpits before we can put any black on them. The yellow, I think, needs to dry a little bit more till we put any black on them. This is a little bit, this is dry enough. What we need now is that dark green stripe down the back of the chairs. So if we just switch back to what we were viewing, this shape, this thing, that's what I'm going to paint on. This here, that's what I'm going to paint on. Okay, so I'm going to do it with a bronze green. Whoa. This bronze green definitely needs a bit of rejuvenation when I'm done. That's too thick. This one's about right. There we go. So let me hold it back up that way and just sort out colour. This is the horizontal bit of it. Like so. Like so. And I'm gonna put this same colour on the headrest. Not because I'm being lazy, though I am cheating, but because I actually quite like it. Because it's dark without being black. And what I'll do is I'll dry brush black over this. But if all of it was black, it would just swallow everything. So just having that bit of green to it, that tint. It's a military green as well, you know, it's clearly something, you know, intentionally that colour. Works quite well in my opinion. Yellow will definitely need touching up now because, you know, I've touched that off. Let's just put the T in a bit better. Second layer. So you can now see the headrests are coloured, and there's the top bar of the T in this bronze green. I need a very, very fine brush now. Looking either that one actually is going to win. So let me pick up the colour and just start putting a line in here. So there are now TH shapes in there. That will do. That will literally do. If the bronze green needs a bit of rejuve, it'll have to wait till next time. So this is now dry. Let's get the craft knife here. Let's think about this. So the first piece is going to be centre of the seat back, so crotch backwards. Yep. there is the piece that I'm going to use as a strap. I'm putting it on the rear seat, center in. That. I'm going to push it down into place. I'm going to double it over here so it appears to have a fold in it, which it does because it's a real piece of tape. That's the first piece. Second piece I'm going to do very similarly on the front seat. Like this. Push it down in there. Push it down from above. Whoops. Knocking that control column about, but it's alright. And then the second piece is going to be, I will highlight them darker when we get to it, but if we look at this, it's going to be this strap, this shouldery strap piece going downwards, but I'm going to put them on in this same grey tape. Okay, so if I got a different reference for those, so that's the piece we've just put on, and I won't put any silver buckle on the end of it because there's no need. These straps here, centre back, there's no backing in the seat. I've actually done the injector top that roughly that colour with the green, with the bronze green. I'll just highlight these with a bit of silver for wear and a bit of silver down these edges. That's good. So we'll put shoulder strapping on. That's what we're going to do. Shoulder strapping. One. Damn. I'll move it up with the tips. Oh, I'm taking the paint off. Dope. You just see in the rear seat now. Just about see. There's two straps. I can't get it to go in position. Just like that. Just like that. There. This one just like that. There. Now all this needs to set, absolutely set solid. I'll leave it completely alone for like a day. And what I will do, if I can find it, is use super glue to fix. Aha! So I'll put a drop of super glue when it's all dried on the belts, and that will harden them and hold them in place. Once that's all dried off completely, I'll highlight the yellow a bit more and I will put some black dots on them. I might put some silver markings, but for now that's that bit done. We can literally take the cockpit and put it aside. We'll just leave it there. What we need to do is get some panel black or black that I've got here and do the insides of the cockpit pieces. Now there are molded raisings in here, you can just make them out. So that's what we're doing. Let's get a very fine brush. How about that one? This is a brand new one. First time using this brush. We'll just get the excess off. And I'll just colour this in. And ditto the other side. Do with it being a bit more liquid. There we go. Get in there. Just a touch on top. Now we've got another panel, a second panel here. Second panel just there. And the rest of it I'm just going to leave, because what I'll do is I will dry brush the black on in a second. So they're now coloured in. Let's just... I actually find cardboard to be best for a dry brush, because you can control how much is on, whereas this being tissue paper tends to soak it a bit. So let's just... yeah, it's a bit crude. Let's try again. Meh, whatever. That kind of works, kind of doesn't work. It could do with just being blended in a bit. There we go. My only physical interaction with a Folland Gnat, by the way, was at a museum. They were, I don't know if they were in service when I was a kid. I don't think they were. Let's have a look, probably. But you know, I've seen a Folland Gnat, and what amazes me was just how small it seemed for a two-seat trainer. It seemed quite small. It's got a single engine, of course, so you know that appreciably reduces its overall size. But yeah, small, very small aircraft in my eyes. yellow, second set of yellow for the top of the seats. Okay, my yellow, happy with my yellow now, you can leave them alone. There's a distinctive, you can even see it on the camera, there's a distinctive yellow hue to them, a yellow hue to the seat. You can see the strap shapes now on there and all the pieces. So it's a case of we need some black on the control panel, control columns. This isn't shutting very well. Excuse me. So I've got a tar black rather than an actual jet black. Ooh, a little bit. This is a separated look. Leave that stand a second, and I need an absolutely tiny brush to get this on in loco from. We'll go with that one again. This has got guck on it. Oh, there's actually something on this brush. Yeah, this brush is ruined. What a shame. I don't know what that was. Get its little brother, or bigger brother. Ooh. There we go. And we'll have another session doing brush cleaning because I've already just binned one. I don't want to bin another. Let's put these ruined bits of tissue in the bin. That's a detail brush. We're at 30 minutes for another video, and you can see this is where patience wins out. There are very many other YouTubers that do videos of model making, and I'm subscribed to an awful lot of them. Whether all of them do it this way, this long clay version, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't see very many, but I don't see very many using brushes. I see mainly airbrush. And let's face it, when you airbrush, you have to clean that airbrush out every single colour. So, you know, the fact that I'm doing this almost long clay, painting by hand, kind of tells you that there must be a lot of time sunk into some of those other videos. But yeah, we're there. Let me just, this is dry enough for a bit of white, because we're going to put a few dots of controls and things on the surface. I need a cocktail stick, which I have got here, and I will Just give you a highlight, an idea that there's something in there. That's all that's for. Cocktail stick for later. Close the white off for later. This is the good white, so I'll get you to keep that there a second. Let's just go back to the instructions then. So what have we got here? We have got put outside bits on, and now it's put inside bits in. Oh, there's more. There's more detail. I didn't realise that. There's more detail. Are those bits? 13 and 14. Yeah, these are these bits. Okay, hang on. I should have read ahead of here. It's been a while since I did read the instructions. So they've got to go inside the wing. Inside the fuselage, rather. So you can cut. Number 13. 13 goes in that one. Clean this up. There's a handle. There's a little handle on that one. Let's just dry fit. Oh, what's the intent there? Is that to go under there? If that's to go under there, it doesn't fit very well at all. Yeah, that's definitely got to go under there. So this is, again, Airfix, a really bad moulding here. It's beginning to really be a problem to see how this would fit under there. And if you were inexperienced, or just like me, a jobbing amateur, you could assume far different results than were expected. Yeah, that isn't going far enough forward for my liking. Scrape a bit off there. And scrape a bit off there. And try and dry fit again. Let's try and dry fit again. Still not quite right. Let's get that out of there. Try and dry fit again. That's getting there now. It's getting better. So before I fit it, I actually want to put a bit of this black on the back. Save me fiddling later. So we can colour this in black here. At least it gives me a chance to come back to the grey. That's the good thing. just like that. And it's in position. Let's get the glue. Literally gonna push it just like that. And I'm hoping that is a sufficient fit. It's not perfect because the mould is clearly showing its age. But we've got extra cockpit area to fill out later now, so you can see where I painted before needs a bit of touch up. The white dots you can definitely see now on this camera, but that's what we've added, that block there, so we need to tidy things up. The other side, so let's just tidy this up. I can already see the mismold on this one, the same. It's because it's right on the gap between the two molds, the two halves. So, but this was the one with the better external fit anyway. Yeah, it is a better fit this side. So the more central piece is the worse off. But the general fit along the bottom is awful. Let me dry fit again. So I'm pushing this down and in lot to get it in position in the right way. So I'm putting the weight on with my thumb there. Do you know what? I actually quite like that fit as it is, so I'm going to not bother with the black this time. I'm going to put the glue straight into the gaps like that and push them in place like so, over the top, glue in there, just like that. And now I will get the paint down inside the jet intake. Just like that. So good. So good. Right. Now what does that do to the fit of the cockpit? So the rear pilot has now some controls. Okay, that's the end of this video. I thank you for sticking around for 45 minutes. I'll answer that call from the wife. Bye bye.